Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, she's a national television host, she's an executive and mentor coach, she's my friend, and she's going to teach us all how to take our game to the next level. Next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I know countless leaders out there who are leading big companies, and they may never have read a leadership book. So sometimes even coaches need coaches. Somebody who knows that well is my next guest, Meg Rentschler. She is an executive and mentor coach. She's a television host, and she's my friend. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for being my friend, and thanks for having me on the show.
Awesome. And you and I actually go back quite a ways.
We do. You are such a giver in sharing your expertise and sharing your experience. So when I was the VP of PR for the International Coaching Federation North Texas chapter, I said, Jeff Crilley, will you come teach coaches how to get their names out there, how to become increased in their visibility, because that's how people want to work with us. If we're a secret, we can't be a success. And you said, but of course I'll come talk to the coaches, and that was awesome.
Thank you. And we got reconnected. Valerie Sokolowski hosts a show here, and we just got reconnected, and thankfully you're able to come on my show. Let's talk about leaders today, because I made that statement off the top of the show that many leaders have never read a leadership book. No. So what are you experiencing on the front line?
So what happens in organizations who want to reward people and build their organization is they tend to promote great individual contributors. Mm-hmm. And that's awesome. We want people to be recognized and to, however, just because I'm good at being an engineer doesn't necessarily mean I know how to lead people. And therefore, I'm recognized and given this leadership position, and then in a place of, how do I empower my people? And instead, often what happens is I get caught in the weeds and I tell you, you need to do it this way because it's how it's been successful for me. And I end up micromanaging and feeling frustrated because I don't have enough hours in the day to do everybody's job along with my own job. And the people who report to me are feeling underappreciated and underrecognized because they have brilliance too. They have skills and talents that have given them the positions that they're in. So if they're not able to leverage those, they're feeling frustrated, the leader's feeling frustrated, and everybody isn't doing the lifting together. We're disconnected and frustrated, and that's what I'm seeing, unfortunately, in a lot of the leadership.
And you have quite a resume, including psychotherapist. Tell us about that.
So I began my career back a long time ago as a psychotherapist. And what my goal and my mission at that point was to help people really meet the goals that they have in life and to get obstacles out of the way. I began my career working with children and families in Detroit, then was relocated to Texas and worked in a psychiatric hospital running an adolescent psychiatric unit. But what I saw over time was that, first of all, our children and adolescents, often it's a family systems issue. It began kind of morphing into working more and more with adults, working with a lot of employee assistance programs here in the DFW area. And through that process, Jeff, what I began to see was that more and more, and this really happened right about the time that you transitioned, because 2008 was when I transitioned into executive coaching. But so really the late early 2000s, like 2005, 2006, I saw more and more people coming into my practice who who are overwhelmed by their work situations. Now, was that brand new? Was I not seeing that earlier? No, I was, but there was just this resurgence of it or increase. And it began to wear me down. I think we need to be aware as professionals, what is draining us?
Yes.
And it was draining me that all these people were being put in leadership positions without being given the toolkits to do so, being led by people who didn't have the toolkits to be a empowering leader. And so I thought, okay, I can keep seeing people as a therapist week after week, helping them put things back together again. Then they go into the workplace and feel torn down again. Or I could do something different. And that's really where I began exploring what different could I do, found executive coaching and thought, it was like that light bulb moment. What if I could go into organizations, help leaders really know how to, because I really believe that people have good intention. They want to be the best they can be. And time is short. We have all these demands on us. We just do the best we can in the moment. So when we can help people really be the best they can be, things change.
And I love it that you're also helping people, not just one-on-one or, one on an organization. You're helping people through the airwaves. So I want to talk about your television show. We're going to pull up her TV show website, and it's called the Star Coach Show, but STAR is an acronym. Tell us about that.
So STAR is an acronym because we all need new strategies, tools, and resources to be the best coach or to be the best leader we can be. And so when I was trying to kind of name my show, because, we get all caught in the weeds of all that, I was just doodling one day and I was like, I want to provide strategies. I want to provide tools. I want to give new resources. And I was like, oh, that comes out as STAR. So it just happened, and I've stuck with it ever since.
It's beautiful, and you've been so consistent. You've been doing it now for how many years?
8 years.
8 years. And I'm going to pull up some video of you doing, I think this is
the show that came out this morning.
Awesome. Yeah, so I did my homework.
Yes, you did.
So how do you choose your guests? What kind of information are you hoping to bring to your audience?
Love that. So my guests really need to fall into one of three pillars. I either want shows to help people become more skilled in the art of coaching. And so this lovely lady is a master certified coach, and she is talking about burnout and how to avoid burnout and how to, the best we can be in a coach partnership or in a leader partnership is to pay attention to our own health and well-being. So I've got a whole pillar of shows around skills. Then I've got a whole pillar of shows around how do you get your word out? How do you build your business? Over and over again for coaches, but also for leaders who want to create a message. We've got to build our visibility and our credibility. So there's a whole pillar of shows around how to market ourselves. It's kind of your bailiwick. We need to get you on the show. Your bailiwick about, the foundations of business, how to market and build visibility. And then I was just talking about my passion of leaving therapy for coaching was to help organizations be healthier. So I have a whole pillar of shows around leadership and changing organization through coaching. And so the guests that I look for are going to bring their secret sauce to one of those three pillars.
Outstanding. I want you to tell one of your favorite client stories.
So I have had the privilege of working with an organization who made it their mission to bring coaching into their organization. And the way that they've done that is I have had the personal responsibility of training over 200 of their leaders on how to be coach-like in the way that they empower their people. So it's not just like, why don't you try some coaching, Jeff? It's like, this is what we do when we coach. This is how to be more curious than knowing. Yes, we wear many different hats as leaders. We're, managers, and we're teachers, and we're mentors. But when we're coaching also, we lead with, Jeff, I believe that you're in your position for a reason. Therefore, you've thought about this. You have ideas about this. I want to harvest those from you. I really want to I want to know what you want to share to this conversation. And then once I harvest that from you, let me plant some seeds. Let's put some sunshine on that. Let's put some rain on that. So this organization has committed. They've trained now over 200 coaches, but 200 leaders to use coaching, and they're they're losing people. Their attrition rate has gone way down. They've got people staying. Their sales, because they happen to be sales leaders, their sales have gone way up. This is a huge organization of which one area has said, this is what we want to do, but what's happening? The organization is saying, what's going on over there?
Sure.
We want what they've got. So they've become shining stars in the organization because they've committed to helping their leaders. And the training is just part of it. They also have mentor coaches that I've trained to do to kind of help those leaders thrive. But I got to tell you, it is so exciting to see that it works. It really works.
And I think your timing is perfect because the world has become very accepting of coaches. I remember when I was, coming out of college, if you said the word coach, everybody thinks football coach.
Yeah. What sport is that?
Right? Have you noticed that the walls of resistance are coming down around coaches?
Not only the walls of resistance are coming down, the acceptance or so when even back in the early 2000s when I started researching this, many times if you got a coach, it was because you were in trouble, right? Fix him. Fix him with a coach. Well, that's not what coaching is about. Coaching is about that partnership between, I believe that you have incredible gifts inside you that are often covered up by all that happens in life. We get stressed, we get frustrated, we get overwhelmed. We forget that we've done things before that we could do again if we just tweak them a little bit. So now, instead of coaching being, you're going to get a coach because we're escorting you out the door, and who wants that?
Sure.
Well, sign me up for that. But really now it's like you're a high performer. You have all this potential. We want to help you get to the next level. And working with a coach gets you there faster, with more clarity, with better direction than trying to do everything yourself.
And one of the things strikes me about you is that you recognize that even coaches have blind spots. And so a lot of the people that you're coaching are coaches themselves. Right. Talk about how a coach who makes their living teaching people how to identify blind spots can have blind spots of their own.
Well, because we're all human beings. I have yet to meet a coach who's a robot, or you just kind of put in the program and it just happens. Coaches often are drawn to the field of coaching because they've walked another path. It's my second career. It's many times people's third, fourth. So in that, we bring our baggage with us.
Sure.
Along the way, I had no idea that I was going to be a coach's coach. I had no idea that I was going to begin teaching people how to coach. But really, before I even graduated from my coaching program, the director called me and said, let's have coffee. I want you to join the faculty.
Wow.
And so that was like 15 years ago. I have taught over 1,000 coaches how to coach. I've taught hundreds of leaders how to coach without any idea that was going to be something that was on my, on my plate. But I love it. And the reason why I love it is, let's go back to that passion.
Yes.
I want to help change the world through coaching. Mm-hmm. Well, I can do so much as Meg, but when Meg trains thousands of coaches how to do it and then mentors them to get their work into the world, to, because we can't be a secret in a success. We've talked about that. So how to get all those barriers out of the way. Now Meg can have so much ripple effect, but boy, Meg times 1,000 times 2,000, that's so exciting.
Amen. I want to go back to the leadership piece for a moment, because it strikes me that so many Gen Zs are now being put in a position of managing a team, and sometimes they're managing a team their parents' age, and the dynamics are off, right? The baby boomer is like, hey kid, I've been doing this before you were born. So talk about the style that needs to happen when you have a Gen Z coaching or managing a boomer.
Such a great question, so timely. And it really goes back to the same thing we're talking about. If I, as the leader, believe that I have to have all the answers to all the questions, so that my job is to tell you what to do, rather than partnering with you to bring out, what are you bringing to the job? What are your ideas about this? Let's put our minds together and do the lifting together. So as a Gen Z, they're going to be dealing with some resistance often. Like, who are you, this youngster, telling me how to do my job? So the best way to deal with resistance is to roll with it and to get curious instead. What are you bringing to the table? What have you already thought about? I get that you have been here a long time and you have your way of doing things. And I'm wondering if we put our heads together, if we can come up with a more creative way to potentially do this even better. So because we all have egos.
Sure.
So if I, as a young leader, bring my ego into the equation and, I'm going to prove myself as a leader and tell you how to do things, and we're going to just hit resistance.
Yes.
And instead, let's sort of acknowledge that each person brings something to the table that is worthy. And maybe it needs to be tweaked. Maybe we're hitting some walls, but let's figure out how we can do this together rather than you just need to do it my way because I am now the boss. And that just doesn't tend to kind of,
Sure.
Bring people to the party. We want to bring people to the party.
Wow, you're an amazing guest. We're almost out of time. So final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
I think what I would like people to just know is that you actually had a guest on your show recently talking about strengths. We all have our strengths. My top strength happens to be positivity and connectedness. And what I would say about that is that we're all connected. We're all here to have this planet run the best way it possibly can. And many times that's through leadership. You don't have to be in a position as a leader to be a leader. You don't have to have that title. We all have opportunities to lead the way, to model what we would like others to kind of be aware of. And kindness, I think, is sort of the underlying issue of that. If we can be kind to ourselves, if we can be kind to others, and remember that we're all connected, we might have different opinions, we might come from a different place, yet what is that strength that each person is bringing? And be aware of that. Then you're going to make the world a better place, whether you are in a role of leader or whether you are not carrying the title, you still have that possibility. So let's all be kind to each other and lead this world to a better place.
Wow, what a great way to end the show. We're going to leave them with your website, which is starcoachshow.com. The great Meg Rentschler. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. Such a joy.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.